Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I should say all these greetings are suitable because we are meeting people from all over the globe today for this very special live session. I'm really happy to see us coming from all the corners of the world. And before we go into discussion with our special guest tonight, I would like to ask you to let us know where are you from now. We have guests registered from the US, from India, from Australia. Australia is, I think, already Tuesday morning. In India, it's middle of the night. I'm really curious if you are watching us live or maybe you will see us from the recording. And we are also in Mexico, in Brazil, and then East and West Coast, the entire US. 200 people registered for this session, and I think there is a reason. There is a reason for that. We are usually talking here on that channel about lean tools, lean methods, frameworks, all what helps us in the shop floor. We believe that shop floor is a place where the value is created for the customer, but there's much more perspectives than we see from our lean view. So today we are going to talk about the executive perspective, which is discussed not so often. And then we are going to discuss today how lean activities, how lean effort is seen from the top of the organization, how is it supported, and then, of course, how is this challenged. So welcome, everyone. I'm happy to see you, and I would love to see your comments wherever you watch us today. You can type just a comment in LinkedIn channel where you are watching us, in YouTube or on Facebook. Just use the comment and we will see it. We can pick up any comment and then we can answer to your question. Whenever you would like to ask a question to us, me and my guest, just type it. We will do our best to bring you into our discussion. All right, I hope everything works well also on your end. Our guest is just waiting in the backstage. I can see it, still there, not escaping. Let me tell you just a few words about it. All right, we have one colleague from Poland. Good afternoon. All right. I wish to see more comments, please. I would like to know who is on the other side. Yeah, that's the channel we are going to communicate. This comment field, the chat field, is for you. All right, guys. Lean from the top floor means or sounds like opposite to the shop floor. Of course, it's opposite to the shop floor. It's another perspective. And then there are some other people sitting at the top of the organization and watching what we are doing. And we do not really know what they think, or we don't have access to their discussions. And then sometimes we hear some directives, sometimes we get some strategic perspective from them, but they do not really refer, or not so often refer, to what we are doing. And then what do they see, and then what do they value in our work? I mean, when I say our work is all about lean managers, lean specialists, lean or process engineers, whoever is shaping the processes in the organization. All right, so who do we have here? We have Laura from Dallas, Texas. All right, thank you for showing up, guys. And then let me introduce you our guest, Dr. Maurice Motedayen. I invite you to, so I recommend you to have a look into his LinkedIn profile to get to know what is his professional path. And I've just prepared few lines on him. I mean, this is the way I see him in a daily business. This is my perspective. And I see also there are some colleagues that used to work with us. Hello, Julian. And then hello, Francesco from the UK. All right. I said a very special guest because, we have seen here managers, we have seen here owners of the companies, but I have never hosted an executive leader, but someone who is driving global transformation and who is working on one hand on strategy and its execution, and then on the other hand is going down to the shop floor and discussing to the people. And then To make it more complex, imagine multicultural environment and global environment. Asia, Europe, US, so America, and then other areas, and then combining this with the lean thinking with the business accountability, which is not easy. My 20 years experience with lean thinking and then lean process improvement is not enough. Still, I am still learning. And then I would like to also say here that this is the man I'm learning from, right? I think we learn from each other. That's the point. And then let me have a look. We have some Polish colleagues. Very nice. Okay, guys. Whoever joins us, please let us know where are you from, and then you may also drop here your time, like what is your time zone. We are present today in many time zones. All right, so that's just a short introduction, and let me invite our guest. Please welcome Maurice. Hello, hi, how are you doing?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks, Christoph, for having me and for the kind introduction. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I appreciate and thank you for coming, for being us tonight. Yes, the point of executive perspectives, that's not a usual perspective we see in our work. Like everyone is focused on the shop floor. And then what I observe in our daily work today, where we work together, we work both on the shop floor, like on one hand, and on the other hand, we work on the strategic perspective in our organization. So it means we need to convince much more people than just operators, which is a daily business of every lean expert or a manager. Yeah. So you are traveling from that level to that level, like by the elevator or some staircase. Yeah. Is it your daily life?
Yeah, let me put it that way. There was a wise man once saying that what the manager's job is to find the right allocation for his or her people, so for resources. And if you think about that, in the end, everyone deals with the constraints of limited resources. Lean is a natural thing to apply. It's not the only toolbox in the world, but I would say before I was even thinking lean, it was very natural to me to know and to balance out how to cope with those constraints of resources. And with that, it's a manager's job. Yeah.
All right. I've just introduced very briefly, like just giving a very little insight, but could you tell us a little bit more about your lean journey?
My lean journey, I would say that it definitely started at the shop floor. So where everyone starts in understanding how you can optimize material flow, one-piece flow, bringing in those classical examples of lean methods, and not really understanding that this is actually a systematic approach to drive a whole company. So then from there, you understand about value stream organization, how to improve information flow, how you can accelerate problem elevation, etc. And then there is the moment in time where you know, there's a higher complexity of problems, so you get to know to problem solving, and you start utilizing A3 reports. And then you also find out that this is not the only level where bottom up, so to speak, problems are raised, but that somehow strategically there's also someone setting the bar, creating problems artificially, so to speak. And with that, you then understand that also here, lean thinking, or again, putting us into the words of normal people, having an efficient way, an aligned way of providing focus and cadence can be also applied there. Yeah, and with that, it's that journey that you experienced. Yeah.
Yes, and then the journey, and then these two views which we experience is like most of us in the lean world, we talk about running business or improving the running business to make it better, every day better. Everyone does every day better, but there's this other perspective to improve the business, like lift it to another dimension, to another level. And then I think the biggest challenge is to run it parallel. Like on one hand, still continue earning money that you can spend on changing the business. And I believe that our our executives, they are more likely looking at this strategic part of the business, and then we focus on that daily business. And then how to connect these two worlds? How do they see this? Is it just like you need to earn money and then we will spend it into investments? How do you see this?
I think like the more catching term is innovation. You know, when you think about what you do top down, is innovating your business in a continuous manner. It is continuous improvement just on a higher scale. So, and when you think about innovating the business, it means that to some extent you have to change the way of your current working. So when you think strategy of this famous where to play and how to win, it needs to be backed up by core capabilities that to really execute on the way how to win. And those capabilities need to be built. And if you build or rebuild, this usually means that all your processes, everything that you know how it is today, is changing. So to use this nice phrase of current state and target state from the value stream, this is exactly what you then redefine. And then with that, you know that it will cascade down to the incremental level of continuous improvement, but not in the first year, maybe second or the third.
Yeah. All right. So I can imagine many of us may not have access to that perspective, don't see them, but we feel like they watch us, they observe how do we behave, how do we perform. And then here comes my first question that I promised to the audience to ask you. Which leadership behaviors matter most for Lean at that level, at that executive level? What do they observe? What do they expect from us to behave like?
I think the way how you look at, or the way how the tone is set, is definitely by the behavior that repeatedly is observable from the leaders. And what you of course would love to see is always focus, and in particular customer focus. In the end, the customer is paying the bill, and there might be different ways to look at this customer focus, but to derive this and to embody this is number one. And with that, providing focus where to improve. Number two is then cadence. That means that you have the chance to translate this focus down into the organization, and that not only you yourself or your direct reports have the consistency on that cadence, but even the ones below, etc., so that you really have a good top-down information flow. And then to come back, bottom up is visible, observable problem solving by the leaders themselves. I think those three things, focus, cadence, and visible problem solving, should be the one that we show to higher management. And for me, that embodies actually a huge portion of the lean mindset already.
All right. So focus sounds to me like a direction given by the top management, what is the most important for the organization. And then if you say cadence, I imagine a structure, a regularity, and then some agenda in my regular routines in my work. Is it what you mean?
So for me, like focus, for example, you can set on the long run where to improve in regards of the strategy, 3 to 5 years. You can have all your methods and process in place. You can use OKR, Hoshinkanri, whatever you like, to nail this down. But I think the key piece is then to really limit yourself in regards of the work in progress, so to speak, with your products, projects, to really make sure that you don't have too many initiatives on hand that you really want to execute, because that will dilute the focus as such, and with that you won't make the improvement expected. You know? So yes, it's this narrowing down the attention of the resources again on what really matters.
Would it mean also limiting number of KPIs for my team or my piece of organization, which is I think the case? As so many managers, they tend to expand the number of KPIs. Some of them, they think the more I measure, the more I control. But then, of course, I lose this what you are just saying. Focus is when everything is important, nothing is important. Is it
exactly
like this?
Yeah.
All right.
No, absolutely. If you think about the metrics in the very end, if you have the strategy on a long-term horizon, there will be the moment in the future where it will translate into metrics, and if you can project that, you can already nail down, what is the path down to the shop floor, and ideally you make this connection. If doable, you make this connection. That depends a little bit on the business as such. If you are a very saturated market, very stable performing company, I think it might be easier because all the processes that you run on your daily business are set. If you have to reinvent or invent many of your processes that you might do not have yet in place because you're on a full growth journey, those KPIs on the shop floor, so to speak, might change more significantly. So it depends a little bit on the maturity of the company and its growth ahead, I would say. Yeah, but definitely, ideally, you can make this cross link.
So if we talk about the work being done in the shop floor, I don't believe that executives, they see everything what we do. Rather not. They see something. I don't know what. Like, this leads me to my next question, which is about the visibility of our work. What do top management see as the most valuable from the lean work? Imagine the lean work as like value stream mapping, running Kaizen workshops, and cross-training people, maybe introducing problem-solving methods or tools, and then so on. So this is what I mean when I say this lean work. And then what's their perspective? What do they see, and what do they value most?
I think maybe not even in this certain time where we have uncertainty, but I would say at least it becomes more significant that in the end, what matters on top is that you have a good P&L, that you care about the cash, and in the end that you care about how you handle your risk. And if you want to again connect this with the maturity of a company, you either need that improvement to invest into further growth so that you have enough money on hand to really make a sustainable effort on the growth journey. Or on the other hand, if you're more in a matured situation, you need this to compensate any cost increases, so material price, labor increases. And then finally, of course, it's then about the risk. And the risk, we are certainly in times where not everything is fully stable. So mitigating those risks, I think Lean can provide a huge contribution to that as well. And if you ask me, down to the shop floor, down to the VSM, like if you map out a nice value stream, you can do it only for operations, or you go bigger, invite product development, engineering. You can even go bigger and think about cash to cash conversion cycles. Lean is well represented in there. If you think about the way how we contribute to shorter lead times, what does shorter lead times mean? Less inventory levels with that.
Absolutely.
Better cash flow situation. So there's always a chance to create a direct connect to those three pieces: P&L, cash, and risk.
All right. We have an interesting comment from one of our viewers, Michal. Margin expansion is what top leaders would like to see, with a smile. Is it something that they would like to see?
Yes, of course. The question is like, why do they want to see this margin expansion? And how is there a reason to improve your cash flow situation so that you can reinvest? Is there a certain need to contribute to the investors community? So to provide that you are definitely doing more and better every year. So there might be multiple perspectives. Again, the other piece is your margin at the moment on a level where you have to act to really continue with the business even next year. So also those situations, what we often see across the industries, where you every year have to make your improvements in order to continue running your business.
All right. So thank you, Michal, for this comment. We would like to see more. So I would like to encourage you, all the audience today, just drop your comment, whatever question you have. We would like to hear it, see it, and then try to answer it. And then in the meantime, we will just jump to next point that we have somehow planned for today, but we are open for any other comment or question, of course. What do you expect from lean leaders that they often don't realize? So what do you as executive expect from lean leaders on lower level of the organization that those leaders don't realize that's your expectation?
Give the people time / capacity to do the improvements, because I think in particular when margins are tight, when pressure is high, people love to utilize all the resources they have. At the same time, you need to be careful not navigating your team, your department, your function into a situation where you cannot cope with unplanned events, so to speak. And I think this is, again, coming back to risk, cash and P&L. If you don't invest into continuous improvement, no matter on what level, it won't happen. So one of the key things is really give everyone time, respectively. Of course, not the same amount of time depending on the hierarchies, but make people available to do improvement on the shop floor on a daily basis. This is this famous 1%. Middle management should be some more time on active problem solving that they lead and facilitate themselves. And then again, also on the highest level, yourself executing on strategic initiatives instead of delegating this down to other functions or lower levels, because they are then already busy. Yeah?
I think you're touching now this famous dilemma of, for example, production managers. They want their teams keep pushing, producing, delivering, whatever it is, and then improve in meantime. I don't know when, but like find your idea somehow in between, and then but don't waste any productive minute on that task. But that's not possible. Yeah.
No, I think it's a bit this piece when you know it's an investment. Again, continuous improvement is an investment. I think you can turn your view on that, and then the question is like, how much do you invest? And I think that needs to be well balanced depending on the problems that you face on those different levels of your work, but making clear that you have to invest, otherwise it will be very short-term based. Everything that you do is very short-term based. That needs to be clear in the very first place. Yeah.
All right, I agree. And then we have some Polish comments. Maybe I should just translate for you, Maurice, that this nice lady, Anna, she deals with quality in Poland, leads a quality community. And then dobry wieczór means just good evening to you. Don't worry, no worries. And there's nothing wrong in it. All right, guys. If any of you would like to join that discussion and then ask any question or comment on what we are discussing, like, you are more than welcome to do it. And then we'll jump to next point. I imagine they see this, or sometimes they don't see. But how? I think that's a very common, I would say, trouble or complaint of some of my peers in my lean community, that they say we put so much effort into lean initiatives, we improve processes, and then we even deliver results, but they are not seen. Like no one recognizes, and then because only the number of produced parts counts or whatever else counts, and then this is not recognized. It's like something on the top, but not appreciated, maybe. How to change it? How can I step into the front and then discuss or explain or show this to our top leaders?
So that's a very good question, and I think this is the everyday struggle with everyone who wants to drive continuous improvement, no matter on what level. It's the same, by the way, for strategic initiatives. How to make sure that this really comes across and that you get the buy-in. What I always say is like you have to be very simple from your communication point of view if you're close to the shop floor, and then middle management you can deal with some complexity, and then again it needs to be very simple just because you don't have the time, because the problems that need to be solved at the top level are so significant that you need to be crisp on your message. So what I always love is this before and after comparison, however you want to do this, which means that whatever kind of improvement you're trying to do, and this is this famous quote, if you cannot measure, you cannot improve. But I would love to give this some more flavor, is that if you are not making sure that you measure it the right way, and that you build a connection to what we said at the beginning, how will this help with my cost situation, with my P&L? Might this help with my cash situation, or how will this reduce the risk to not continue with my business? If you don't care about this translation or leveling up of your shop floor metric up to the high level executive metric, it's going to be tough times to let them feel engaged. So having the right metrics, having a tree where they ideally can follow through about what's on their scorecard, or what kind of metrics they have on hand, and then to show them the right path down to the shop floor. If you have this system in place, it's much easier. Knowing that it's not done overnight and very time consuming to establish, but that would be the perfect way. What I always then say next is, or maybe if you don't have this kind of performance system in place, let finance co-own everything you do. If you have a finance team close, those guys know how to translate this properly, and we usually with that, everything which has a dollar or euro sign,
that's
the transpire. Yeah.
All right, and I pull here a comment from Mateusz. Money talk, show the numbers, show the savings, and board will love that. And he's winking here. That's like the typical perspective. I mean, if any of us, like lean guys, meets the top manager, the owner of the company, whoever who is not familiar with lean concept, and then with its long-term perspective, they talk to us like this: show me the money. Where's my money? I remember like financial directors or some financial controllers talking to me like this.
No, I think, and that's fair to one extent, because in the end, we want to continue to pay salaries. Again, you want to invest to grow the business, so it's fair to ask that question. On the other hand, usually if the customer is happy, the money comes after. So the money is then only the ultimate result. So if they have a chance to connect this also to customer experience, I think it's a more balanced approach, and both worth to follow through.
All right. There's another question, a little story behind. First, that part. Sometimes the teams analyzing, driving the change consume more budget than the change itself. So it would take years to realize the gains, and the booked gains are usually lower than estimations. And here's a question: what is the proper team or structure to implement lean and change? Should this be centralized? Or should we connect this one?
Yeah, I think it's connected, right?
Right.
Should it be centralized? So here's my thinking on that. If you think about a company as a startup and you're very small, and you serve the customer, you're the only one producing it, and you serve the customer, you put it in the trunk of your car and you deliver yourself, you pay yourself, and then you grow, and then with that you have more processes to run, you hire people to help you to do this more professionally, for example, quality control, etc., legal. And then there's the moment where you think about, okay, why would I hire someone who is knowledgeable in lean? And again, coming back to the very beginning, to find out how you can deal with this constraint of limited resources. And of course, then it starts, so to speak, per definition, centralized. In the moment where I continue my growth journey, I think it's very key that this way of working becomes a certain standard of behavior in the leadership mindset. And then ideally with that, you gain yourself the comfort of then deploying those people closer back to where the business is done, meaning in operations, in sales, wherever it's needed. Because with that, then you have the chance to also tackle the more local specialities and the more specific problems that are coming up, and you don't kind of like stay too much apart, which naturally happens when you grow. But with that, usually it also extends the time to solve your problems then, and that usually is then always on the account of the customer satisfaction.
All right, I'll pick up another question, which is referring to annual budget, like in brackets here, which is that's also my perspective. This annual budgeting cadence is a cage or jail for managers. They don't see beyond. They don't look beyond. They just prepare the budget. They defend it in the budgeting process. Then they deliver because of their incentives or whatever. And they close the year and then they open another year. And how to break this circle? Like year over year over year. And we all know that lean is like longer than 1 year. Whatever lean implementation, it's usually not enough time to do significant achievements, to achieve something significant within 12 months. That's not possible, mainly.
No, and then I think this is absolutely fair stated. If again, for me, it's a capability that you have in your organization to execute in the most effective way. This is what lean provides, this kind of mindset, this kind of capability. And if you want to build this capability, I think it shouldn't only come bottom up, so to speak, to control up your budget achievement. At the same time, you have to have this top-down perspective in your organization to make sure that there's more than just short-term or annual improvements required. And if you want then to implement lean as a journey, again, it's building process, it's building muscle, it's building this capability. It belongs on that list of strategic initiative. If you think it's important for your company, it's nothing that you do bottom up. It has to find its way on the list of the top priorities for your organization for the next couple of years.
I remember a company I used to work for years ago, and then there was a quite successful time to introduce some lean methods like daily performance management, problem solving, that led to performance improvement, and then everyone was happy. But then there was a change at the very top of the organization, and then we got a guy called accountant, like the nickname was accountant, and then he was just pushing for cost saving. And some people who understood lean at that time, they started to leave the company, but he was pushing, and then what has happened finally, after I think 2-3 years of continuous cost cutting, this company became so weak in the market that they were not able to respond to market demands or changes. And so when market opportunity appeared, finally, they were not able to take it. And finally, this company was sold to the competitor, who just closed it because it was stronger with its ability or capabilities to deal with such demand. That's the sad story, but I believe there's not only one company like that. That cost saving is just how do you call it? This way down, and then just shrink your company, and then you make it disabled to compete.
I think it's like if you sit in a car and you want to go to a certain destination, and you really try to do this the most efficient way. If halfway you figure out you're heading into the wrong direction, but you continue with your journey to be most efficient, you would definitely still end up at the wrong destiny, and then with that you gain nothing. So it's this piece where I say, in particular on the leadership level, there needs to be time to rethink your current business and then to innovate this business. Otherwise, all those still important incremental improvements won't be worth anything on the long run. It needs to be both.
Right, here we have a valid comment from Marius. Lean is about building people, which is like, I believe we all can translate it into building company's strength for the future.
Capabilities. Yeah,
Yes,
agree.
abilities. That's absolutely right.
And I would love to see it's not only people, because for me, and to some extent, it's important. It's about capabilities of leaders, of leadership. If we have strong leaders who believe in this mindset, who are well educated and knowledgeable how to translate and coach problem solving in their daily life, and asking the right questions when they do their Gemba walks, even if it's not every day, but maybe once a month and sometimes even just a quarter. That presence is, I think, what really matters here.
Let's pick another comment. Our question: how would you explain the value of lean to CEO who might not have a knowledge about true value of lean? Where to start? Imagine you meet a man who has no clue about it, absolutely zero. And then this is a case, I've seen so many companies, especially in Poland, where I come from, like in the 90s, when the free market entered, and then people started to run their own business. So they started to run like single man business, and then it was developed to 20 people, 100 people, and now 20 years later, you see, okay, it's not the same market condition, it's not the same situation, and then they need to manage it differently than in the 90s. And then they have no clue there's something else than that, like pushing, or like working 24/7 or whatever. How to start this discussion?
So I think that depends again what company you are in. I think if I'm going to make this simple, and you are in a very matured organization where it's required to protect the profitability, so to speak, you can definitely argue with that, because you need to put yourself in the position of the CEO. If the CEO says, hey, my problem statement is that I need to make sure that my profitability is on a stable level, you can kind of like reuse the arguments and the logic that we provided earlier today, how lean can help to protect your profitability. If your CEO has a different problem statement, because maybe it's on a growth journey where it's saying, like, I need to have good cash flow situation to ensure that I can invest more into innovation and accelerate my growth and maybe my digitalization journey, etc. So that all costs money. I think here again, you can provide that lean is a great asset. And the third one, if you see that the biggest headache of your CEO is that the customers are changing sides, moving to competition, even your products are great, your service level is great. Again, here I think with even the term value add and waste, you can already give a strong connection to the customer and what really matters in the very end. So I would always start with the question, dear CEO, what's the problem that you're facing? And then all of you, pretty sure, will find the right answer.
All right. I like hearing here also cash flow, which is not the first thing that comes to lean mind. But then finding a connection or relation between lead time and cash flow is the key. Like, and then I believe each of us should be able to explain it to a particular CEO if he's interested in it. I mean, if the company is in need to improve their cash flow, that's for sure. That's not an obvious thing, I think.
But I think when we talk about lead time and overall flow improvement, what is the next to the value as such as the core of the lean mentality? Flow can only be observed if you have a stable level of the inventories, and usually with that and all the improvements that you do for your respective lead times, you have a strong contribution to the cash flow situation, to the inventory levels as such, and with that to the cash flow situation.
All right.
And I think there were times where interest rates were low and everything and money was cheap, so to speak. So where that maybe didn't matter that much, but that time is gone. So we can now come back with that argument.
Look who's coming with a question from the US. Crystal. Hi, Crystal. How do you show an executive lean when it sometimes takes direct labor away from work, but the changes will benefit to whole organization? the floor knows what changes need to happen best. What do you recommend? I read it loud out because there are some people that they don't watch; they just hear us on their headsets. Let's say. All right.
Okay, so that means like you take someone away from the existing work and put them somewhere else just to make for the overall benefit of the organization. I think this is how I read the question. So here again, the pieces, and I think this is where lean is very strong. When you think about why do you want to solve a certain problem with a certain action, you always want to make sure that you serve it in the most cost-effective way. When someone says, in my area XYZ, I have a need, and with that a problem, where it can be solved easily by shifting people from another value stream, so to speak, and then with that the cost or the problem that will be created in this other value stream is smaller than the original one. I think it's that kind of conversation you would like to have. And thinking about cross-trained people and moving people from one value stream to another one, providing flexibility and resilience with that in your organization, not only in operations, but even beyond. It's actually a very powerful capability that you then have in that organization. But again, the argumentation should always be based on the rationales of what is the problem here and why is this the best action to execute, in this case to move a person to another workstation.
All right. I think one of the best way to explain is to take this executive down to the shop floor and then show the work, the place, the people, let them talk, let them understand each other, and so on. And here is a question from Julian. How can we as lean leaders make Gemba a daily habit for our top executives? How to do it?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure if daily can literally translate in or really like being day to day doing a Gemba on the shop floor, but at least on a regular basis. And I think the only way how if it's not already part of their leader standard work, so to speak, that they think it's a natural piece of their work to meet people they usually don't meet. The key piece is like if they embrace that they drive problem solving as such, usually if you face the situation that happens all the time that you don't know what's really going on, the automatism, so to speak, needs to be okay. Then let's go and see. Let's walk the floor. Let's check in and talk to the people right away. Of course, they shouldn't be surprised, but at least that everyone has the chance to really see unfiltered the status quo. And if we connect this to this problem solving as such, as just another vehicle, of course, on the other hand, you can also use Gemba walks to appreciate success and showing presence and interest in people's daily work. But if you connect this at first to understanding the status quo of your problem, of the situation where you're not fully aware and you don't know exactly what's going on, it's very powerful. And usually with that, people have very easy way to follow that idea of
okay. Let's make a step forward from our daily struggles. I mean lean experts and managers. And let's look into the future and what would be executives' expectations. But lean, it means us using lean, the lever in 2026 and maybe later. And then sub question to that, is AI going to eat lean for breakfast? Is there still space for lean thinking or lean initiatives there?
Yeah, I love that.
You talk to those guys at the top, and then you are one of those. So how do you see this?
Yeah, let's start with the 2026 at first, and I was checking my notes.
Okay.
Because, I had to think about this. What has changed 2025 versus 2026? I think 2025 was already interesting year with all the trends and new innovations upcoming, having huge influence on the organizations from different angles, but also with the uncertainty. So what I wrote down is that speed and quality, again, thinking about lean is still number one. You want to have very good customer experience. The quality matters, I think, more than ever, or it's rather seen as a standard, and then delivering this at speed is key to outperform the competition. And just to make this clear, maybe it's most of the time is not even always trying to be the best in that, but maybe not being the last. And usually if other companies are then struggling, your competition is struggling, if you provide consistent improvements, you usually make your way ahead. So that's number one. Number two is, I think what I said at the beginning is this piece about resilience. So with the uncertainties that we see from the political landscape point of view, with the tariffs and energy crisis, etc., this piece is for me my number two. Goes hand in hand when you think about Europe, also with sustainability. And everything that we think about waste reduction actually pays into this. From energy consumption for sustainability, you can nicely connect this to our way of thinking. And then number three is credibility. So really making sure that what you promise to the market is the way how the customer in the end perceives it, so that you can play on the long run. And I think what we currently see is that many companies, the lifetime of companies are really shrinking. I think they are, like the last data says, below 20 years or so. So if you make sure that your credibility is in a good shape, that relationship with the customer can be heavily extended.
All right.
So those are my three focus area, at least.
And maybe a word about AI.
Yes.
Lean, like there's one comment already there. No way that AI will take over lean. Common sense thinking supported by AI will be the case to improve on delivery speed.
Yeah. And let's connect this to the Gemba walk, or being at Gemba. I think AI can never be at Gemba, and to at least confirm, validate that something is really true, or at least as close as possible from the assumption point of view becomes true. I'm not sure if AI can do that. And then there's this famous piece of, if you think about processes as such, even on the top level, everybody knows if you put shit in, shit gets out, and then with that, you have just more expensive waste. But what I think is key, or at least what I experience, is it's facilitating our tools, or the tools that we use when it comes to strategy deployment, when it comes to problem solving, when it comes to maybe understanding your daily performance metrics, so to speak, from the analytics point of view. It's a strong facilitator to help you to gather information, to align information. But in the very end, you have to have someone who looks at it and validates that actually the outcome is true, and that won't be replaced by any technology at the moment, at least.
All right, thanks for this. And we have a confirmation from another lean thinker here, like exactly what you are just saying. I believe, I'm just reading now, I believe final decision will go down to people at the end. AI might show us some clever outcomes, but we will pick the most relevant to our business.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's very much in line with what you just said. All right. Thank you, Mateusz. And then maybe we are coming to close to the end. We'll pick some more questions, and then about behaviors or behavioral anchors. Each of those determine whether lean is permanently anchored or disappears. 1, 2, or 3 anchors. What would it be?
The leader can help you to translate metrics into action.
Great.
That's very powerful. And if the leader doesn't only show metrics and starts explaining, rather than showing you what he or she has already initiated in their own circle of control to mitigate it, if this person thinks it's important and worth to solve, this is number one. Number two, if that person can coach other leaders how more complex problems can be solved by using dedicated methods and tools themselves, or facilitated a bigger session for me is another sign. And then number 3, and we touched it already, if in particular on a higher level, if the leaders can give you this customer focus again and again and again, and is capable to translate everything which is important on the top level of the company into your functional area. So really creating alignment throughout the organization. This is a key contribution to Lean, because everything starts with knowing where you want to go to, and then if you have this strong alignment, all of the continuous improvement work, no matter if it's going to be the breakthrough improvements coming from the top or the incremental ones coming bottom up, they will help to achieve strategy.
All right, thanks for that. I think, guys, I'm talking now to our audience. If you want to give us a short feedback on today's discussion, on questions or very last questions, you are welcome to do it now. Like, we have some minutes left for that discussion. We can use it for a free discussion. Use your comment or chat window, that just text your message. You can give us feedback saying, yes, that was nice and worth to spend the time with you, or maybe not that much. But we would appreciate any feedback. And in the meantime, before you, or when you do it, I will grab this comment from Francesco. He thinks he is going off topic, seeing so many Lean colleagues from Poland. All right. And it makes me wonder whether Lean thinking itself is intertwined with Poland's being the EU's fastest growing economy. Could Poland be the new stage for Womack and Jones 2.0? I come from Poland. I may try to answer this, and I also ask my friends in Poland to answer in the chat. In Poland, there's no way to say it's impossible. The Poles will always find a way how to do. And then they will always find the easiest way for them, which is like kind of natural for people being lazy. But I think this is the same, like doing the right thing, but easier or quicker or cheaper, very Lean. So we have it, probably we have it in our blood somehow, I would say this way. Yeah, answering Francesco's comment. And what are the challenges Maurice faced recently on a daily basis in this scope? Mateusz, I'm not sure what scope. Maybe the future. You were explaining the future.
I would call it alignment. So alignment, realignment, making time of people available to actually do the work is what's on my daily plate. Because again, if you have small company, usually alignment can take place like in a family. And if there's no agreement, there will be one deciding for you. If you then come into a bigger organization, it will be a more team-based approach. And then with that continuous alignment of what matters at the moment most, short term and also on the long run, is a continuous problem, so to speak, that you have to solve as a leader. And if you don't have this as part of your standard in your calendar, so to speak, you will never be able to allocate your resources the right way. So meaning with the right view on the priorities. And I think this is how I started. If that is your goal and should be your goal as a manager, it's part of that day-to-day job. Yeah.
All right. And we have comment from Olivia. Love that you have mentioned cash flow. TPS eliminate the contradiction of trade-off that we had between profit and cash flow. Now we can have both, not one at the expense of the other. I believe we all agree here at this in this meeting. All right. Thank you, Olivia, for this comment.
Thanks.
All right. So, very last minutes for last comments or questions to Maurice. You can also reach out to us later. I mean, you may find us on LinkedIn. You can connect with us to stay in touch for the future. Who knows what the future brings? Maybe we'll meet one day somewhere, sometime, right? Michał, that was a great discussion and happy to spend this hour with you. Merry upcoming Christmas for all of Lean freaks from Michał. Thank you. was nice. It was great to have you here and then discussing with your questions and comments, Michał. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, good. I think we have completed the topics we have planned for today. We are on time. We have a little bit of buffer. That's good. It's good to have a buffer, yeah. Then we can win some minutes always, like for a short chat or coffee. And it's difficult to have a tight calendar, of course. All right, guys. So you can keep commenting later on. We will have a look into your comments. And then we also, I personally also appreciate any comment from those who will watch it from the recording. So because this discussion will stay there where you can watch it now. So you can come back to that in LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. Check again, slow it down, and then check again, and then make notes and everything to do the best use of what we have discussed today. So, Maurice, I thank you for your time for today, for being with us. It was a great pleasure and honor to host you here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting. And thanks for all the great questions from the community. I appreciate that conversation very much.
Thank you very much. And then we thank also our audience, our colleagues, our friends, our peers, lean freaks, how they name themselves. Have a great evening. Have a good week, because it's just Monday evening. So there's a couple of days in front of us to win some more in lean. Francesco, thank you all, of course. Then have a great evening and see you next time, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.